back. Today I have in store a treat of a video. I have the first and last attempt of almost every boss and mini boss I've fought on my first playthrough of Sekiro, more specifically the Immortal Severance ending, which I believe is the longest ending. Let me preface the rest of the video by saying, for some reason, I don't have my first or final attempts for some of the mini bosses and bosses I fought along the way. If I know the reason, I'll try and explain it during the attempts, but during my first attempts, just overall, I'll try and walk you through, post finishing the playthrough, what was going through my mind during that attempt. Because, while I did try and record my mic during my first attempt, for some reason they were all terrible quality, so, we move on. But thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great time for the rest of the video. Just make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll just bring you through the first attempt of the boss I'm currently on. Well, it's not the first attempt, because I attempted him a couple of times. But... where was I? Ah, yes. I remember. It's not entirely. Where am I going, bro? Holy Jesus. I remember. Okay. Going in down one gourd because of my dumbassery. Okay. So. Bad looks. I didn't know that was a double. That's the one attack I was getting cooked by. Ah, it's because just dude. All in all, well, this is post boss fight and post like the finishing the playthrough. I didn't actually really mind this mini boss. I think he was kind of one of my favorites because his moveset feels like a very like a shinobi one, and I get that's the point, but it feels really nice to fight against. I feel like they're my favorite mini boss type in the game. Because later on you fight like Vile Hand, Lone Shadow Vile Hand in the Washington Castle, and that was also an enjoyable fight once you got rid of the second one. The second normal shinobi that was just sitting there in the room. Outside of that, it was a good fight. It's also fast, which I like, because like if you do it all correctly, it's not a difficult boss fight by any means, and it goes really fast because you parry every one of his moves, Mikiri, counter, etc. But ultimately, this boss fight, yeah, I'm just moving on. This boss fight leads you into the second area with one of my lesser favorite mini boss types in the game, because I don't really like the moveset on the next mini boss I'll be facing, and one of their attacks. I know it's a scale issue, but one of their attacks, just timing is so cooked for the deflect, and I'll probably tell you about it in the final attempt.
understandably, I went into this boss fight pretty not only like under leveled as in like less prayer beads than I should have and less healing gourds, but also it's just like not in the right mindset as well. Because at the end of the day, I'd been fighting this mini boss for a decent amount of tries, and I'd always been getting cooked by the grab attack because the deflect timing I could never get down on that. So I kind of I'm not happy about this one. This is one of the ones I definitely go back and change, but I just took a coward's way out and just did the strategy where you just literally don't have to fight the boss, which is not the greatest, but you know, yeah, deal with it. Because you know, you just get the you get the death blow on the first health bar, and then on the second health bar you just drag them into the poison, and she'll just get to 1 HP, and from there you have to hit them once and they're dead because they lose all their posture once they reach 0 HP. So then you can get a free death blow, and that's how you end the fight. But I sped it up because this takes a while, so that's why you're seeing the gameplay in like 2 times, maybe 3 times speed. And I feel like, as a whole, the snake eyes aren't really my favorite type of mini boss. In one of the areas in Sunken Valley where it's just all those guys with guns, I was so fed up, and then I found a snake eyes, and then I had to fight a snake eyes after dying on the bridge. I was just actually crying myself. And I did that one legitly. I can't remember if it's later on in the video, because right now during editing, I'm at the start of the video, but, you know, hopefully you guys enjoy, and see you later, and whatever overview I talk about later. Yes, this is my first attempt at the boss. You're about to see. And I doubt there's gonna be a second attempt necessary. Easy dubs. That'll be my first attempt. I'm definitely not good. I don't know. Now, I won't give much of an overview to this fight because I feel like it's just a really good fight, so it doesn't really need much explaining. But, I can't remember if this is my first attempt or not, but I don't think it was because of the way I skipped the cutscene. I think I forgot to record my first attempt, but I believe this was my second attempt. So, what you're seeing right now is me panicking because I don't know the boss's moveset, and I also only have 3 gourds, which is kind of dumb because I forgot to pick up any of the gourd seeds. Not that I forgot, I just didn't know where the gourd seed pickups were, so forgive me for the terrible gameplay you're watching right now. And I'll talk to you back once I get to the end of this boss fight. Like, I left like 5 attempts into this boss fight because I realized I was not correctly powered, so I went to explore the world, and I came back later, which you'll see in the later video. Can you perilous? Like a perilous thrust, technically? Cool. I need to get more points. Okay, that's a bad play. I don't know why I dashed it. does a fall. It's actually quite funny the way I went about the game. Like, it wasn't intentional, but I went to Harada Estate, which is supposed to be one of the early areas in the game, well after I should have, or well, like, I went to areas well before I should have, but it is what it is. I like this game in the sense that you're not so underpowered in any of the main areas in the game where you can't get by. It's just that you'll definitely struggle in some of the boss fights because they're just more tanky in those areas, but this first attempt was quite lackluster. I just ran away because I hadn't built with the people. I didn't think I needed to because, you know, I knew this was an early area, so I was like, oh, I could blow through this boss fight. But no. Now you're seeing my final attempt after you've seen my first attempt. And, it's a fine boss fight, I think. Mini-boss, rather. I don't think it's too bad, but I definitely don't... It's not unenjoyable, but it's not the greatest. It's a fine boss, mini-boss, for all intents and purposes. It's a fine, especially for the carry counter, it's a fine tutorial boss, but later on, it's just... It's also one of the annoying things where it's like there's 20 different enemies around. Not 20, obviously, but I hate that type of fight, so I didn't really enjoy this fight much, even if the mini-boss itself wasn't that bad. The fight was just not enjoyable since there were so many enemies around it. Like, I could have assassinated all of them, and I think that was a problem that I didn't on my part. That's why I don't like these types of boss fights that much. But I don't think a player should be required to spend all that time to fight all the enemies around and assassinate them without activating the boss. And then every attempt, because like if you die once, you're gonna have to do that again and again. I get that's a skill issue, but it just pisses me off every time. Throwing in enemies to make a fight harder is one of my least favorite things any developer does. So if you're a developer listening to this, fuck off. If you do that, fuck off. Sorry, my bad. Just pissing me off. I don't know. on God, this is the epitome of what I just talked about a couple moments ago with enemies. Like this, the drunkard moveset's not even that bad, but it's gotta be one of my least favorite mini boss fights in the game. Just for the sheer fact, sure you can drag them away, but for the sheer fact that like there's so many enemies and it makes the fight so stupidly annoying, and that just more effort than it's worth. Like I get the point of it, but as I've said earlier, I hate boss fights that do that. I think it's a really dumb way of making something harder. So in terms of final thoughts on this mini boss, especially this fight, this version, nah, not great. Obviously, in terms of, in the game standards of fights, obviously as a game, it's like top tier masterpiece. But in terms of fight itself, nah, it's one of the worst ones in my opinion.
やるじゃないか、せがれ殿。ならば我が幻に惑え。高みの見物とシャレとの
as you can probably tell from what I'm doing, I'm just doing voiceovers on the final attempt and just giving my final thoughts. And I actually really like this fight. It's honestly, the second phase can be a tad bit annoying. It's not the bad type of annoying. It's more like a why type of annoying. Which is, there's a difference in my head. Like a bad type of annoying is just like there to piss you off. A why type of annoying is just like a more like, why the fuck are you doing this to me type of question. But anyways, back to the boss fight itself. It is good. It is a good boss fight in my opinion. I actually quite like this boss fight. There's a smoothness to this boss fight, especially in the first phase, where you can just like have a very clean and fast fight. Once you learn the moveset and stuff, it is quite a easy boss fight in my opinion. It's probably the easiest out of all of them. Obviously, like if you make a mistake, you get pretty severely punished. Not as much as some of the other boss fights in this game, but it's just so fun to get like the go back and forth, like getting the attacking her, and then getting the parry, and then doing it again and again, and then hitting her into a corner and stuff. Especially in the later fights when you refight her in later playthroughs. It's just a fun fight. It's a pretty replayable fight as well. And like, especially in the Gauntlet of Strength, where she's puffed up to what you are late game, it's a fun fight. If I do say so myself. Like, I know I recorded the first attempt of this mini boss, but this I don't know why I don't have it. For some reason, I might have I probably deleted it mistakenly, thinking it was just an extra clip that I might have clicked record on, and I might have also deleted my trash bin as well, so I couldn't recover it. But outside of that, this is my final attempt of Over Into the Water. This, especially since, so my first like 20 attempts of, not 20, my first bunch of attempts of this boss fight, it was directly after I fought and beat Snake Eyes, so I was like nearly getting one shot by her on any attack, and I only had like 2-3 gourds, so it went really bad. But now, once you come back to the boss fight with like 6 gourds and more prayer beads and stuff, it's a fun boss fight. Obviously, I wasn't using like divine confetti or snap seeds or anything, but I think this is my favorite mini boss in the game. The moveset's so nice to parry. Such a like a flowing, pun intended, moveset from the mini boss. So I think this is probably my favorite in the game. And once you learn her moveset, she's actually easy, and it's like a very smooth fight. I wouldn't say quick, because you kind of got to get certain attacks, especially if you're not using divine confetti or anything. You have to get certain attacks that allow you to break down her posture bar and health, eventually allowing you to get the death blows. That's why as you can tell, it's a longer mini boss fight, but outside of that, it is a great boss fight. Obviously, if you have divine confetti, I actually haven't ever used divine confetti on this mini boss because I never felt the need to. I'd rather save it for like the headless or the Shishipin warriors. But outside of that, it was a good mini boss fight, and I feel like in terms of difficulty, it was good. It presented a challenge. Even in later game, you still were forced to learn her moveset, because if you didn't, this was a really punishing mini boss if you mess up, because you get hit like 4 or 5 times, especially on that one combo, and you immediately die. So that's why I feel like this was a particularly rewarding. This is probably the most rewarding mini boss, especially because this is the mini boss I attempted most. This is probably one of my more attempted fights in the game, outside of like Demon of Hatred, Ishin, etc. It's like, yeah, this is one of the most attempted ones. And even now, like when you go back to it, sure, it's an easy boss fight, but you can't slip up if you slip up, especially going to fight that boss early, you're cooked. That's why I still enjoy it, because it has a level of replayability to it that some of the other mini bosses just don't feel like they have. But outside of that, I feel like I'm just droning on now, so I'll move on and allow you to watch this fight in peace without hearing my voice, and tell me what you think about the boss fight in the mini boss fight in the comments. Because I don't know how polarizing this boss fight is, because I feel like you could either love it or hate it. But anyways, see ya.
代わりにあの子をよこしてくれた。そこにいるのですね。
I will say, especially this version of Corrupted Monk, it's a long boss fight. A massive health bar and insane posture meter and posture recovery. It's a long boss fight, and you just have to chip away slowly, especially if you're not like going here super late game. Like after all those Genichiro fights and only to finally get the flower and to go to Fountainhead Palace. It is a long fight. So, and in terms of the boss fight itself, I really like the Monk's movesets. It's super good. It's one of my favorite bosses. I do prefer the true Corrupted Monk because it's it was a slightly quicker boss fight, but you get more variety of the moves. Like you have three phase boss fight. Each phase is different. You got the first phase of the true Corrupted Monk, which is just this Corrupted Monk. Then you have the second phase with the additional attacks, and the third phase is completely different. I feel like that's a really good dynamic, especially for a slightly longer boss fight. So, while I do prefer the true version, this version is also still really good, especially for just learning the first version before going to Fountainhead Palace, like the first phase, because this forces you to learn all her moves and like know all the Mikiri counters, all the jumps, and all the moves you can either dash away from and punish, or you should probably deflect. And that's why I really like this boss fight. I didn't use any sort of help. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just like a me type thing during games where I don't use items as much as I should have. Like I could have used snap seeds, but I didn't really use them at all whatsoever. So that's why this boss fight also took long. I guess you could say that I probably should use snap seeds and it becomes a lot shorter, and maybe use fire packers as well. But I feel like outside of that, it is a long boss fight, and I don't really mind the length of the boss fight. I do. It can be slightly annoying if you're going for like 5 attempts in a day. If you're going for like 5 attempts, because those 5 attempts take up all your time. But as a whole, the boss moveset does feel very smooth, and it is really fun once you learn it. So in terms of how it ranks with other boss fights, it's got to be in the mid to high tier. I haven't looked at all the boss fights, and frankly I haven't done one of the endings, the Shura ending, so I haven't fought that version of Ishin. I've only fought the young version, the Sword Saint version. So I'll get back to you with a full tier list of all the bosses in the game, and I'll see where I place this boss, but it's gotta be up there. I know to the viewer this is weirdly placed because I fought my first attempt with Genichiro was really early on, but what I did was I made my video in like chronological order to how I actually went through the game. So yes, I actually did the Corrupted Monk boss fight before Genichiro's boss fight. That's why it's the kill of the final attempt of Genichiro is after everything else I've done, despite the first attempt being really early on. And as a whole, just speaking of the boss fight itself, this is one of my favorite boss fights in the game. It's like high tier, top 5 boss fights in the game. Obviously there's only what, like 15 or something like that, including the versions. But yes, it was a fantastic boss fight. It really did feel such a smooth boss fight, and you can go through this fight quickly, which is what I like. The more you know about this boss fight, all the small things you know about it, especially in the later playthroughs, you can fly through this boss fight because not even using like that corner strat, just like as a whole, learning how to fight Genichiro is a really interesting thing because you gotta be the tip is like being super aggressive, right? Obviously you gotta learn that when to deflect. You just can't only be attacking, but you also have to follow him and attack him at every step, because then he won't be able to, if you do it correctly, he won't really be able to get many bow shots off, if any. So that's why it's like a high tier boss fight, because like the more you know about it, the easier it gets. But at the same time, like it's like, even for me right now, I know I'm not great at this game right now, but even now that I've fought him a bunch of times, like you can still mess up, you can still make those mistakes, and you'll get punished heavily for it by his bow, and especially if it's a quad shot. So I feel like it's in that way it makes the boss fight not only replayable but also super fun. And then like on the way of Tomoe, the third phase, the hidden third phase, the lightning deflects, I didn't really get him until like my second playthrough of the game, but lightning deflects as a whole is a really good mechanic, I feel like, because it adds a bit of spice and makes a higher skill curve for the game, especially like those top players especially use those lightning deflects every time, because they're just so good. So much posture damage, so much damage, stun with the shock effect as well. It's just a great thing to add in the boss fight by FromSoft. And I feel like out of every boss fight, almost every boss fight, this one is really on point in a really polished fight. Like there's not really many bullshit attacks in this that you feel like just like punish the player too hard. And I also really like how the Way of Tomoe, despite being a more difficult version of it, it's also in a way easier as well, because he has no posture and he can really easily get speed blitzed by the player, and his moveset is heavily punishing in terms of damage if you get hit by an attack in the final phase. But if you don't get hit, it becomes a really easy boss fight. So it's a really interesting dynamic that I like, because it's like a glass cannon build, and I feel like those builds are my favorite, not only to play with but to play against, because if you know how to play, then it's an easy fight. But if you mess up, or if you don't know how to play, it's over. And as you can see, I'm heavily punishing his moves here. Like I didn't really know how aggressive I should be during this boss fight, and I learned that during the Ishin boss fight, so because I could speed blitz Genichiro then. But I still kept up some level of aggression. Anyways, moving on to like the final cutscene that spooked me when he came back up. I was like, shit, I put down my controller and everything. I thought there was about to be a fourth phase, but then he just left, so I was like, thank the Lord I did not have to fight a fourth phase of Genichiro, because I was like fucking exhausted since I'd been playing so much at that point. But yeah, it was probably top 5 boss fight in the game. this has to be the most riveting boss fight in the game, if I do say so myself. Folding screen monkeys. Nah, I'm just fucking kidding. It took me 15 minutes. 1-5. I know. I'm a dumbass. I don't know how to read. I actually just don't read. And I don't know how to follow tracks. And I'm stupid as fuck on puzzles. But it took me 15 minutes. I first attempted this boss, but it took me 15 minutes to kill the boss. It wasn't even difficult. It was such an easy boss fight. But if you just don't know where they are, it's a tedious boss fight. I know I'm speaking fast right now, and it might be a symptom of me watching a times whatever speed recording right now while I'm talking, but it is one of the worst boss fights in the game. One of the worst fights in the game as a whole, because it's just like not fun to do. It feels like the puzzle itself is not even like a puzzle. Just when I'm talking about puzzles, I want an actual puzzle. I don't want this type of bullshit. It's just like a boring fight. It's not even difficult. It's not. It's like, sure, this is technically a puzzle, but it's just a waste of time in my opinion. I guess it's like, oh, I'm gonna put a boss. You could have put another boss. Obviously, I'm not saying like place another boss and replace him with and swap them with folding screen monkeys. Like replace the false version of corrupted monk with folding screen monkeys. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just like do a complete revamp of the fight, or maybe just make a completely different fight before the Divine Child. Like, this is such an important place in the game, especially with this item you're about to get with the Mortal Blade. So I feel like the boss fight should hold some level of difficulty and significance. But it's just the Folding Screen Monkeys is just a long fight with very little difficulty, which is the exact opposite of what I want for something super important, like a key item in the game that not only has an insanely broken combat ability, but like also just like in terms of progression and lore is significant. So I feel like out of every boss fight they could have put here, this is one of the worst ones. And I feel like that's why it's also just more diminished in my mind. Sure, it's already a bad boss fight, but it got worse by the fact of where it was placed. Like, so late in the game as well. It's like, I'm already through all of Senpo Temple, and the way I played the game, this was also pretty late into my playthrough. So I felt like, yeah, this is just, what am I doing here? What is this boss fight for? I didn't even feel any joy for attempting this. I was like, cool, wow. I got a memory from this, like, sure, I got that attack power boost, but I didn't feel joy for beating the boss fight. I was like, great. Thank you for gifting me a waste of 15 minutes. Like, I'm just trying to play the game. I'm not trying to sit here solving and attacking air to find that one invisible monkey. looking back on this boss fight, even despite this being my kill attempt here, it is also, I could have done so much more different and so much better than I did in this boss fight. Like, I could have, especially for the second phase that had this version, I could have just immediately cooked them with the mortal draw and shit, but I just didn't. So I kind of, looking back, I think I could have done a much better fight, but in terms of like then, I fought this boss quite a bit. It was a difficult boss fight in my opinion, but it wasn't too difficult to where it felt like it was difficult for no reason. Just some of the boss fights, especially like in Elden Ring, and once I fought, it was just like the difficulty. Sure, it grants some fun, but there's like, you don't, especially to a certain extent, you don't get as much joy. Anyways, in terms of the boss fight itself, it was a good boss fight. I really like this boss fight. Once you learn the moveset, and it's a fun boss fight, especially this. I actually kind of prefer the second phase over the first phase. No, I don't. I prefer the first phase over the second phase. I feel like this is really good. I'm not saying the second phase is bad by any means. It's still really good. I like the complete discrepancy from the way the first phase went. Not only because he's using a sword, but because of like his movements are more jerky. He's going in for like a stronger attack, and it's not him. Obviously, it's something else. But I really enjoyed it. In terms of the way the boss fights based in the game, good boss fight based in the game. I guess you get the flower and you get the finger whistle from him. I feel like you could get slightly more, but at a certain point you don't want the game to give you too much, because then it feels like this boss fight's too overly rewarding. Anyways, that's a completely different conversation between how a game should reward you for a boss fight, but this boss fight, the one thing that slightly annoyed me was that fart attack you just saw me get hit by. And because I guess you could tell it's coming, but poison is one of the most annoying statuses in the game. I mean, all statuses are annoying. Actually, none of them are not annoying. I actually don't think. I feel like poison's one of the less annoying ones, but still really annoying. Because if you get hit by it, you basically lost a life. Obviously, like, and whatever the one is in Fountain Palace by those nobles, those are bad. That status is the worst in my opinion. But this boss fight outside of that was a great boss fight. I think it might be top 5. I'm just waffling on at this point. I don't know why. I don't know if you could tell, which you probably could during these other voiceovers. I'm a waffler. What my brother calls me. He says I just like to yap for no reason and no purpose. And I actually want to point something out, like, as I'm watching the video right now with you, and as I'm commenting this over, on the scream attack, now I know, but you can just, like, walk behind him, and he has really no radius behind him, so you don't really so you don't get hit by the attack. Also, one thing I felt like I did it during this phase was I got impatient, especially on the screen. Like, even if I got away out of it and didn't get hit, I'd run back like a second too early and still get hit anyways, trying to get that greed attack on him, get that one extra hit. But outside of that, it went pretty well in this version. There was obviously things I could have done better, but outside of that, it was good. choice, I can already figure what's about to happen. I'm gonna probably stay loyal. I think it gets that owl's lets me.
せがれよ、なぜこの父の思いがわからぬのだ。忍びの掟を忘れたか。掟は己で定め。
He's definitely pretty nice. Man.
我が主
I think he's the one that stabbed us in the back when after we fought Lady Butterfly. The rat. No, you're a rat bastard. Yeah. Knew it. Taking his sword out. He's about to stab us. While I don't usually voice over the first attempt of the boss fight, my audio during this was completely cooked, so I'm just voicing it over so you don't have to hear absolutely nothing for the entire first attempt. But I'll just speak on this because then I won't do a final attempt voiceover. But as a whole, this boss fight was really good. Obviously, there's a like the corrupted monk, there's a better version. Great Shinobi Owl Father, and I enjoyed that boss fight slightly more. It's a bit more difficult, and I felt like this had a slightly better arena. Sometimes I died during the other version of Owl because I accidentally hit a pillar when I was running towards or away from him. But outside of that, in terms of the Great Shinobi Owl, is a great boss fight. It felt really good to fight him. It did truly feel like it wasn't like a even matchup by any means, which I feel like it shouldn't be, because Owl should be a better Shinobi than you should be. But it is, and that's why it feels like an uphill battle. That's why it feels like you're fighting someone better than you at your own thing. So, and he's also a rat, which I kind of like about it. Which I kind of like about him as well. The way he fights, the way he jumps back, it's a really interesting. It's very unique in terms of boss fights in this game. He's like one of the only boss that do that, and in terms of the way you fight him, it's also quite unique because you'll have to go after him, but you when he jumps back, but at the same time, like when you're fighting him close range, you can't just be ultra aggressive because he'll have attacks that don't get canceled, that don't get mini staggered once you're attacking him, unlike Genichiro. So that's why he's really enjoyable. And ultimately, you'll see how the final attempt went, and you'll see. This is my first attempt. I've just finished voicing over it through, but I'll just continue it on because I also have something extra to say. You won't see the Father Owl boss fight during this video because actually I didn't do it in my first playthrough because I didn't know about it. Well, I knew about the boss fight, I didn't know how to get to it, and I didn't realize that once you beat Divine Dragon that you can't get it anymore. So I actually beat Divine Dragon without getting the Father's Bell. So that's why you won't see it in this boss fight. I did recently fight him, so I'll just give you my thoughts. But Father Owl was a fantastic fight. Visual is good. The way he fights is good. The change up during the second phase is perfect. It's just so weird because like I fought him, died like 3 or 4 times, more like 7 or 8 times. Then I left and I came back, and on my first attempt back I beat him. I don't know why. Something like clicked during that boss fight. It's actually after I refought Ishin for the second time. I beat him. I just came back to Great Shinobi Owl, and I just not Great Shinobi. I came back to Owl Father and just cooked him. I first tried him. I didn't do it hitless or anything, but I did it without using too many gourds, and I felt like that was crazy because for some reason in these types of games, after taking a break from a boss fight or coming back after doing something, I get better at it. It doesn't make sense because like realistically, I shouldn't remember all the moves the same, and I'm not in that flow state where like my body muscle memory's fresh. I feel like for some reason though that doesn't apply for FromSoft games or even other games in my that I've played. I just get better at them even if I'm not playing the game at all. Like I've come back after playing Hollow Knight for like after not playing Hollow Knight for like a month, but I'm better at the game than I was before. I don't even know how that happens, but it does. So I feel like that's really just an interesting paradox for me. But outside of that, the boss fight for Father Owl wasn't difficult, but it wasn't super difficult, especially since you've already fought Great Shinobi Owl. You know a bunch of his moves. Outside of that, though, in terms of where Great Shinobi specifically ranks, in terms of boss fight, it's got to be up there. I don't think it's necessarily top 5 just for the sheer fact that Father Owl exists, but outside of that, if Father Owl didn't exist, which is kind of a weird thing to say, because like a good boss fight should be top 5, but I feel like if there's a better version of a boss fight, then that version should be top 5, and then I don't want to have two of the same or two very very similar boss fights in the top 5, because then it feels like I'm not doing my I'm doing a disservice to every other boss fight in the game. But outside of that, this has got to be a top 10 boss fight. Father got to be a top 5 probably. I think I'll get to where I place Ishin later, but you guys might be able to guess by the way I'm ranking these boss fights where I'll place them. Outside of that, that's where I'm gonna end this overview, this recording, because I just realized I've been talking for 6 minutes straight, and I need to go to the bathroom, so I'll be back afterwards. dodge poison. Okay, so. I'm struggling so hard. I did holding forward. Oh, so bad. Such a slow. Oh, first life. I should have gone now with that damage, but that's fine. Can I hit him through this attack? What? Just a really long attack. Good to... Let's down. Why'd I rush in? Oh. That was bad. Forgot that's... This is not that bad. I'm just being really dumb with how it's like I see the unblockable and I just don't do anything about it. Alright, time to lock in. See it. Mortal Sever. So I completely lost the footage for the final fight, or like the kill of the corrupted monk. So that's quite unfortunate circumstances, but you know, you move on anyways. It's not like I'm gonna remake the fight because then it wouldn't be original. But we're moving on to the Divine Dragon. This is all my first attempts, but I just sped up the initial beginning of the fight because it took me a while since I was playing extremely cautious. But I hope you enjoy, and make sure not to shit on me too much. My first attempts are always iffy at best. So I actually first tried this boss. I know it's like, I don't know why, I don't know how, but I first tried it. It wasn't a difficult boss fight. Like, I didn't even watch a video on how to beat it or anything. I didn't watch a video even about the boss fight. I didn't know how it was gonna go. I thought it'd be more similar to like he'd be attacking you directly with your sword and with his sword and you'd have to parry it, but that just wasn't the case. So I figured it out all along the way, and I'm pretty proud of myself for first trying this boss. I don't think it was difficult by any means though, so like I'm sure a bunch of people in the audience have first tried it. But outside of that, the boss fight it's a very beautiful boss fight. If I do say, in terms of beauty, it's probably the most beautiful out of all of the boss fights in the game. But that doesn't equate to how good the boss fight was. One thing, the boss's difficulty wasn't that bad. No, it was really easy. So I was overjoyed. I was really happy that I first tried him, but I don't think it made the boss. I kind of prefer sometimes when I lose to a boss, because then it feels like I have room to improve and I'm improving. But I don't feel like I felt that during this boss fight. But outside of that, it was a decent boss fight. His moveset's okay. I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of the lightning gimmick. It's different, and I'll say it's interesting and pretty cool and all. But in terms of how it equates to actually playing, it's a okay boss fight. It's kind of replayable, just for the sheer fact that it feels super grand and massive. But I don't think, in terms of how the fight flows itself, the boss's moveset, or anything outside of the way it looks, it really stands out to me. The gimmick, it's a gimmick. Unless it's a super revolutionary gimmick, it doesn't really make, to me, gimmicks don't make a boss fight much better, especially if a boss is lacking in some of the areas that I enjoy in some of the other boss fights of this game. Like, it does feel like, this is one of the boss fights that's in the middle ground. There's certain boss fights in this game that I feel like don't feel like Sekiro, like a Sekiro boss, but other that I do feel like are perfect for this game. And this boss fight, I think, is in the middle. It feels great. It feels like a boss that fits in the game, but doesn't necessarily have to only be in this game. And it feels like it also kind of fit. In the way some of the other FromSoft games are, I guess it wouldn't. But in terms of like, it could be in another game. Yeah, I could see it. Like some of these other boss fights, like Ishin, I couldn't imagine being in any other game other than Sekiro, because Sekiro is super like unique. But outside of that, something like Demon of Hatred, I know that's later on in the video, but it feels like it's for a completely different game, and for that reason, among other reasons for that boss, I hate it. But I don't, because Divine Dragon's in the middle ground, I won't really deduct too much from it for that, but it was a okay boss fight. I don't think it's top 5. I don't know. I haven't looked at the full list of bosses, so I won't be able to say if it's top 10, but it probably is. Anyways, outside of that though, we'll be moving on, and for some of these boss fights, you'll see that I'm missing a couple of attempts. I'm missing a couple of finals or first. I don't know if I've deleted them or I forgot to record, but it is what it is, so that's just a fair warning for what's about to happen. I've completely split up this boss fight, so you'll find the first attempt of the Genichiro portion of the final fight right now, but then you'll find Ishin at the end of the video. So if that's what you came here looking for, then go ahead and skip ahead. Obviously, I'd prefer if you watch the entire thing, but I won't stop you here.
久しいな巫女の忍び見よ不思議のもう一振りよ
健一郎殿、そのようなものでは決してアシナの命運は変わりませぬ。狼よ、流因など誰の手にもあるべきではないのだ。苦労をかけるな。
御意参るああしまいとしよう俺がアシナを生かす
I'll give you an overview of this fight on like what I was thinking when I was fighting him, because you know it's an important fight. So basically, from what I heard before the fight, like I was just watching YouTube and I saw someone talking about it's like you have to be really aggressive, and that's what I against both Genichiro and Ishin. So that's what I tried to do, but because I didn't fully remember his moveset and he had got a couple of new moves, I just completely cooked this attempt, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. Let me preface the next boss fight of Demon of Hatred by saying I do not have a final attempt, and I might have been crashing out when fighting this boss so much because I hate this boss. It's probably my most hated boss in the game, but I kind of took the bitch way out and got him to kill himself instead of me killing him. Like, I'd gotten far enough in the boss fight, but I just gave up. Look, I got to the final phase, got him half health, and I just gave up. Because so many attempts after that, I just kept on getting cooked on, like, the first 2 health bars. I don't know why. Maybe it was because the more I died, the more annoyed I got with this boss, but it was bad. It was bad. Yeah. And I think a lot of people can agree with me on the belief that this boss fight sucks, but it's gotta be like top 5 worst boss fights in Sekiro, worst fights I've had in Sekiro. And I do feel some regret for taking that route of how I killed him. I genuinely don't even care, because I'd probably have done it again if I went back, because I just did not want to waste my time on this fight when there were so much other things I could be doing. Need to completely do like a full deep dive into this boss fight. Alright. Done. Now I won't lie to you. This boss fight was really easy for me. I believe this is like my third attempt, and then I got it. That's why I have like a. That's why my first attempt and my final attempt are all in the same recording. But one of my I don't hate it in this boss fight, but one of my least favorite things in a game is when, in any game, not just Sekiro, is when they add a bunch of enemies around the boss or a mini boss to make them more difficult. Like, I get technically, like, oh, they don't have that hard a moveset, so we're gonna buff it to get difficulty in some way. And maybe it might be slightly more realistic, like, oh, this commander's gonna be with his soldiers. That doesn't mean it's an enjoyable fight. Like, I despise those type of fights, because then it's not like I'm here for the mini boss, I'm here for the boss. It's like, oh, I'm here to get cooked by every other enemy, and I'm gonna have to spend an extra X amount of time killing them off before actually fighting them, and then you're like in a more disadvantageous place to fight the boss. But, you know, in duo fights, I don't mind it as much, especially when the second enemy's easier to kill, like the second ape in the boss fight. But, as you can tell from the way I was speaking earlier, like, this boss fight was definitely, in my opinion, just slightly worse from the OG Guardian Ape boss fight. Not only because the Guardian Ape's moveset, like the non-headless version, was I kind of enjoyed more, but also because like it was a solo boss fight and it felt more like an uphill battle then. Instead of for this, it felt like a Pokemon type battle, which is not like the worst feeling in the game, but it's also not the best feeling in the game. You want a challenge, especially for someone like me. I feel like a challenge is a lot more rewarding than just like, oh, I beat a boss and I got the memories and I got the 2 prayer beads. That's not what I was here for. I was here for a challenge. And to some extent, you had to avoid both of them, but once you learn how the mechanic works with the scream in the duo part, it becomes a really, really easy boss fight. So this is a Genichiro fight leading directly up to my first attempt of Ishin, the Sword Saint. And I have to say, after looking back on all of this, it's probably my favorite fight in the game. Maybe the first initial Genichiro fight is up there as well, but this has to be my top fight in the game. It's just so fun for me. I don't know why. It's a difficult fight, I won't get you wrong, but it feels so rewarding fighting him. And you can just, I kept on dying, but I was just able to go back and fight him again without any like negative feelings about it on repeat, unlike some of the other bosses in the game. So that's why I really enjoy this boss fight. But moving on, as you see in the background, just fighting Genichiro, trying to relearn the fight, and I had left the boss fight earlier to do like Demon of Hatred, or quote unquote Demon of Hatred in the Duel 8 boss fight. But now I came back and I'm trying to relearn Genichiro's moveset, and as you saw, I got the death blow and was able to end the fight. And now the cutscene will play, and I'll come back once the voiceover's over.
俺は結局何もできなかった。だが竜院がこの国を生かす。これでアシナの世は明ける。哀れな孫の最後の願いじゃ。わしはこのアシナをよみがえらせねばならぬ。故に赤炉。主を切るぞ。参れ、赤炉。
No, I won't lie to you. I was definitely panicking during this boss fight because I'd not only did I not know any of his moveset, I was low on health, and I was worried about how difficult he'd be, so I like started panic deflecting. But at least I'd learned parts of his moveset and learned that he had those jumpable attacks. Now, unlike some of the other boss fights, I've actually thrown in one just random attempt in here because I felt like it was kind of meaningful. Because, you know, this boss fight was it's the final boss fight of the game, of the Immortal Severance, and probably one of the hardest boss fights in FromSoft. I haven't played much of FromSoft, but from what I've heard, a lot of people say it was pretty hard. I didn't find it super difficult. I actually thought it was definitely a difficult fight, but it wasn't too bad. Anyways, it all led to this fight, and that's why I felt like throwing in these attempts was a good idea. But outside of that, I actually, for some reason, don't know why I don't have the final attempts of Ishin or my kill. Like, I have the cutscene, but I don't have the attempt, which is so weird. But I think it might have been because it was like I forgot to record since I was watching something after so many times I didn't think I was gonna get it, but randomly one time I just did. And like it's like a flow fight, meaning like if you mess up or if you cut off a flow, you can so easily get cooked by Ishii. And that's why I didn't want to pause and click record, because I was so locked in. Like I say in the final part of this video, and then like the final cutscene. So this will be your this definitely wasn't the best attempt I had before killing him, but it was one of my better ones, because I believe this is the first time I got into a second phase. That's actually really cool in the boss fight with the spear, and then in the third phase he gets the lightning. Obviously you only see the second phase, but in the third phase he gets lightning. Until now, like well after that I finished the boss fight and I'd replayed the game and re-attempted him, I really didn't learn how to deflect the lightning from his attacks, but when you get it, it feels so good. The deflect and then the parry into throwing the lightning back at him to get the shock and get like huge amount of posture damage. It was great. It was a great boss fight. Well, I forgot to turn on my mic during that fight. I was just locked in. I was watching some video on the side. I wasn't actively watching it, but and we beat him. Divine.
おそばにおります。
I'm at your side.
竜の涙。
Is he dead or is he? Damn. Rest in peace. I know that's necessary, but that like time skip Sekiro. What sculptor was Sekiro all along? Crazy.
これはやはりあなたが持っていてください。また新しい忍びが力を求める時が来るでしょう。
Like a loop? I doubt it's a time loop. I don't know why it feels like it does. Feels like it is, rather. Well, that's the end of the Immortal Severance. Thank you for watching the video and reaching the end. It means a lot to me. Some of these voiceovers I left in from like when I recorded them at that time during the playthrough, but other ones I had to completely scrap because the audio was from my mic was completely cooked, so it completely ruined all the audio, including the games. So I just did voiceovers to completely cover that. But outside of that, this video took a while to make. Obviously, it meant playing through all of Sekiro and recording my boss fights, but also all the editing. I mean, it's a hour 50 long video. That's not short. But thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment about what you think. Maybe your favorite boss, whatever you feel like. Just it really means a lot that if you're hearing this, and it means, because it means you've reached the end.